Welcome to BrickVault. Today we're visiting the Warhammer 40k realm with the Dunecrawler designed by Flying Waffle. Like so much of the machinery in this universe, its build origin is somewhat lost to the sands of time. We do know its original design is based on a Mars Universal Landing engine, and the body itself is modeled after an ancient beast of burden, which presumably had 4 crab-like legs and mandibles. Functionally, this is an absolute workhorse, extremely reliable, durable, and highly modular with armor and weapons for taking on all kinds of enemy engagements. Flying Waffle did a bang-up job offering multiple build options and making the modular weapons easy to switch around. Before I get into the details of this custom model, first I'd like to say that if you wanted to build this for yourself, the instructions can be found at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. With each purchase comes the PDF step-by-step building guide and a parts list for fast ordering your pieces online. The models are physically tested in real life. We test instructions for the ease of the build, and parts are chosen for availability on the brick buying market. Getting instructions is a great way to help support the channel and the talented designers we work with, like Flying Waffle. He has some amazing creations under his belt already with instructions for all of these other builds that you see right here. So if you wanted to get started, click the link in the description below. And now let's check out some of these closer details. The modular features of the Dunecrawler are what make this build a bit different compared to most other LEGO models. This is inspired from a Warhammer 40k design after all, so the high level of customization is something this builder really wanted to focus on. The large round tilting turret on the right hand side of the cab is your primary point of customization. Right now we're looking at the anti-air configuration with the Icarus array. We have what looks like autocannons, a missile pod, and a Gatling flak launcher at the bottom. This whole configuration tilts up and down with enough friction to keep the angle of the weapon locked in place, which is really nice for posing. But let's check out how this thing switches out. It's done by removing the roof, which more or less just rests on the top. Then a small subassembly in the front is taken off, designed to be removed pretty easily. And don't let me get too distracted, but the interior has some good details here. In the back you can see what I think is a reactor. A minifigure sits inside, no problem. And okay, back to the weapon switching. Each alternate weapon has the same base attachment build, so changing out any one of them has the same process. And now we're looking at the Phosphor Blaster. It's the least sci-fi or fantasy looking weapon with mostly just black and gray detailing. I really appreciate that the build function is so consistent between the different cannons. You have the same level of friction for each one of them, so posing is still easy no matter which build you're using. Now another sped up switch later, you've got an eradication beamer attached. It's a bit more fantastical looking with the gold and trans blue detailing, but still pretty beefy. And then once again, let's finish off with another switch to the Neutron Blaster, which has even more color, and I think it's the biggest single cannon you can attach to this section. The front mandible like arms that stick out can be switched with lights or a combination of both if you like. There's a small breakdown for the detailing by the top gunner if you want to have a closed hatch instead and you have a few extra pieces left over. And even the feet down here have extra covers. They've been on this entire time, and generally they're used for more difficult terrain, but you can take them off, and the model normally would have spiky feet. That's actually the default version of the build. There are actually 1 or 2 minor alterations to the model that you can still do, but looking at the breakdown here, this is the model with all of its different customization options laid out. In case you're wondering, Flying Waffle, the designer, did include a couple of different parts lists, so you can choose to have all of these pieces built at the same time so you can freely switch them, or you can order just enough pieces to have any of the modular bits built, but you'd have to take apart bits of the cannon to get each design fully put together. There are some great brick building techniques in this model where you get all these interesting little shapes. As a physical build, I wouldn't press down too much on the head or really handle it very roughly. The legs do hold their shape and can move a little bit, but this design isn't really built for play. I definitely say handle this model with care. Generally speaking, I like to just remove the head very quickly when I'm actually doing the switch around. I was just kind of leaving it on the table to show you in the video, and it's just one of those builds that you need to learn how to handle properly. properly. It's a really menacing looking vehicle. This universe in general has a hyper-destructive art style, but the Dunecrawler in particular has a way of really getting the whole "don't mess with me" message across. The sprawled legs are creepy, and the angular weaponized head just feels to me like it's very cold and brutal. And anyways, I think it's a great extension of Warhammer 40k and LEGO. It also pairs nicely with Jarek's Dreadnought, which has similar customization options. And remember, if you did want to build this model for yourself, the instructions can be found at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. If you have any suggestions on more builds, of course, drop that in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy our content, please feel free to support us in any way you want. Likes, subs, comments, shares, who cares? Well, I care, actually. So anyways, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.